So, how do I list some edge cases on a pull request I'm working on?
Okay, let me show you an example. This is an issue that I worked on myself back in the day when I was working on WeVote. And this might be the largest, most complicated issue that I worked on for WeVote. It was a huge refactor. We were changing the build process. They used to use something called Gulp to build the whole project and generate this executable, and they wanted to move to Webpack. And so I'm basically touching the build process for all of WeVote. It's a very sensitive thing. And here's what I did. So I basically uh, this is my partner Tom. Actually, I collaborated with somebody named Tom on this issue, and so we wrote this pull request description together, and so we wrote out the purpose, and then we documented case by case all the different things that the build process would do, the different kinds of tasks. Um, so like starting the Express server, include these libraries, run the linter, all these things one by one, all the things that the old build process used to do, and I wanted to show them that like this is how Gulp used to do it, this is how Webpack does it now. For the next one, this is how Gulp used to do it, this is how Webpack does it now. And I documented it and I wrote it in English what each one does. And so I went through as many cases as I could. I did this for a couple of reasons. Partly, yes, just for documentation, just so that they could understand the pull request. But also, I knew that for this PR, because it was such an aggressive change, they might not trust me. I'm not a maintainer of this project. I'm not a senior developer on this project, and so they might view my pull request with some suspicion because it's a very sensitive change. WeVote might break completely if they accept my PR. And so I wanted to document all these edge cases just to build credibility with them, just to let them know that I tested all these cases. You should trust me. I know, like I was thorough. So in a way, this breaking down the edge cases is kind of like a way of selling your PR to them to let them know that, look, I've done my thorough research to test all the edge cases, so it's safe to merge. So this is an example of how I did it, but I also want to show you an example of a place where I failed. So if you scroll down here, there's a comment from one of the maintainers named Sailing Steve. Here. So he tested this case. Logging in was Twitter, and it actually broke. So he found a case where not only did I fail to test it, but it is actually broken, but he said it's fixable. He also tested Facebook, the Facebook login, which I did not test. Also broken, but in the end, I'm grateful to them. They still merged in my PR, even though those cases were broken. Now, I will say this. If I had been the one to test these edge cases and preemptively told them, like, by the way, I tested this and I tested Facebook, it doesn't work just yet, they would have had even more trust in me and more credibility. But in the end, they needed to test it themselves, like approved after extensive review by Sailing Steve. And it's a good thing he did because I actually didn't cover all the test cases. So anyway, I hope that you're seeing a couple of things from this video. Number one, what it looks like to document edge cases. And number two, I hope you're understanding why it's important. Your ability to test the edge cases and document that you've done so can mean the difference between whether they believe your PR is credible or not. So thankfully, in this case, even though I failed to test some edge cases, they still merged it in.